Peace and blessings. My name is Angela Baker of the Holistic Academy LLC, www.theholisticacademy.org. I'm going to talk to you today about malnutrition. Now, what most people tend to think of malnutrition, they tend to think of somebody who's underweight, whose ribs may be showing, somebody that looks sickly, things of that nature. But in actuality, you can be vastly obese, you could be slightly overweight, and still, or you could just be an average weight to height ratio and have a decent BMI and still be malnourished. So let's break down what malnourishment really is. Mal is a Latin prefix meaning bad, and nourishment is what your body needs to sustain its regular life-giving activity. So your regeneration of cells, because your cells are bombarded daily by toxic residues, by chemicals. Your skin cells are constantly regenerating themselves. Your body cells on your inside are constantly regenerating themselves because from the chemical-based non-food stuff you're putting in there. So, all of that leads to malnourishment. So nourishment, in essence, would be providing your body what it needs to sustain life. So the essential vitamins and trace minerals, your essential macro and micronutrients, your essential, and they have to be of good quality, of the optimal quality, of the pristine quality, that the body will actually be able to break it down and utilize it without releasing any toxic effects. And the diet that provides that type of nutrition is going to be obviously a more so organic base, fruit and vegetable, whole grains, nuts and seeds based diet. Anything else other than that will at some point cause a deficiency in the body. Now what happens when you become nutrient deficient is when you're not providing the body the nourishment it needs in order to sustain these life activities. So you're not providing the amount of nourishment your body needs to regenerate its cells. You're not providing the nourishment your body needs to release waste. The waste from the daily breakdown of all the goods it uses on a regular basis. You're not providing the energy that it needs, so you start to become tired and sluggish because you have this waste build up in you. Daily activities that you don't even think of. Energy processing, the capability of the cells to extract energy from the food that you consume, and the amount of energy that is able to contract is directly based upon the type of fuel your body provides. Just like putting fuel in the car. The better fuel will give the car more longevity. It's more healthy, but your body is a lot more dynamic, of course. So in essence, you can be overweight and malnourished because what happens is you're taking in all this toxic food stuff, and I'll break that down. And so you're not providing the body what it actually needs, which causes you to be in the deficiency. That deficiency causes you everything to slow down on all levels. So you start to feel tired, sluggish. You're not eliminating waste properly, so you're holding in stuff that shouldn't be in. You're holding in toxic residues. Your body is storing it in pockets in order to protect you from its mal effects. And, it's usually stored in the form of fat cells. It's stored in the form of plaques and hardened plaques on the arteries, which cause hypertension because your arteries are, if you think of your artery as being something about this, it's a lot, it's obviously microscopic thin. But let's think of a tube like this. And you have all this toxic fat, these trans fats, all the preservatives that's chemical based and synthetic that's inside your foods nowadays, especially your inner aisle foods, your refined carbohydrates. Now, carbohydrates is a necessary part of your diet, so you never want to not have carbohydrates. But when I say carbohydrates, I'm talking about carbohydrate. Carbo in chemistry stands for it contains carbon, and hydrate water. So the basic backbone of a carbohydrate is CH2O. carbon and water. And so carbohydrates are backbones found in all your fruits and vegetables, really, in essence. They're your sugars. They provide they break down into glucose and all types of different types of sugars that provide your body the energy it needs. It runs off of sugar. But it's the type, that is the key to sustaining your health and well-being. So these carbohydrates that are on the shelves are refined, meaning everything that God or nature put in to this plant has now been stripped, or it's been synthesized. So your body does not recognize it the same, and nor does it provide the optimal energy that it would if it was in its natural source. So these refined carbohydrates, on top of that, they have synthetic preservatives, and sometimes, lots of times, unless it's organic, they have toxic compounds in them in order to sustain them on the shelf for years and years and years and years and years, okay? So you don't want to be consuming stuff like that. The CDC reported back in 2009 that out of all the autopsies that they had done, over 70% of the U.S. citizens' bodies were already embalmed. That has to do with the amount of preservatives you are eating in your food. If you are preserving states of matter inside of your body system that have to constantly change and regenerate in order to heal and keep up with the processes it needs to do, and you stop that by stiffening the organs, then you halt vital life processes. A lot of people will say, well, I'm going to eat what I want to eat because I'm going to die anyway. That's the stupidest, most retarded, unself-serving, low self-esteem answer I've ever heard in my life. Point blank, period. If you don't look at that as having a problem with you, then you don't see your deficiencies. Most people don't see their deficiencies. It takes others, loved ones, to tell them that. And they're so sick that they're not able to hear you. Okay? Because everything's not shooting off correctly in their brain. It can't. Look, they're malnourished. Your brain is not separate. Your glands are not separate. Your neurosystem is not separate from the rest of your body. We have this separatist way of viewing things. Everything is holistic, whether you want to recognize it or not. It is holistic. It is synergistic. Every movement, everything a cell does in a certain place at a certain time affects the cells around them. Okay? So, your brain will function more optimally with the proper nutrition. What does the brain do? It's the control center. It controls the way you think, which, in essence, controls how you act in any situation. So now you see how food can make you crazy, or how food can make you divine. Okay? It has a direct correlation. So you should think every time you put something in your mouth, is this healing? Is this food? Will this food help me to be divine? Will this food help me to live my making and not just want to make a living? That docile nature, and I'm not saying that, if you work a 9 to 5, you're doing what you got to do to make ends meet and but what you need to do is come up with a way. We all came here with a purpose. Some of us know our purpose. Some of us don't know our purpose. Sometimes we're trying to find out our purpose. Some of us don't care about our purpose because we're sick and we can't even fathom anything like that other than day-to-day mundane lower level living. So what you need to do is start finding avenues on how you can find out what you were sent here to do, what you are supposed to be here to do. Now this video is on malnutrition. Now mind you, I am a holistic health practitioner. I will go here, and all the way back around to get to my point. Okay, like I said, all of this stuff is interrelated. So, I provide services like natal and numerology reports, karmic reports, forecast reports that are based on astrobiology. That is a science, and that can help people to ascertain what they're really good at. This is not your run-of-the-mill, newspaper zodiac report. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. It's going to help you ascertain really. I mean, it's like mind-boggling when you get something like this. I do 14-page on average, or 14-page reports. They're generated based off the way the solar system was designed, the way when you came out of your mother's womb, and if you looked out at the sky, and what all of that energy, all that reciprocal energy from all that matter and that chemistry in the sky, and how it resonates down to the earth, had an effect on your birth and what you are here to do, believe it or not. And I can break that down, the science of it, so that it's more believable if you don't believe in that type of stuff, in another video. But however, you know, the food you eat is a direct correlation to your motivation. If you feel tired and sluggish, are you going to be motivated to do anything other than what you're doing now to deteriorate your health? Of course not. It'll be very hard. So you start by doing things you can control. You might not be able to control the toxicity of the air outside to an extent, unless you leave whatever location you're in. But you can, you know, control what you eat, your choices. You say it's too expensive to eat healthy. No, it's not. You cut meat out of your diet, just meat out of your diet, you're saving at least $20 per week a pop. Trust me. I ate red meat daily. I suffered with fibroids, fibroid tumors, ovarian cysts, kidney issues from ages 16 to 21, to the point where I thought there was no hope for me. All the hormones in the meats, the meat in of itself, you know, is debate whether or not we should be eating it based on our teeth. Let me just tell you this right now. Life generates life. Death generates death. You should be eating food that provides substantial nutrition in the form that's most closest to nature. Okay? What happens if I cut up a cow and I leave him outside? He will decompose, right? So what you do is you halt the decomposition process by putting certain nitrates, certain chemicals inside of the meat to halt this process. You put it in your freezer to further halt the decomposition process, right? Then you speed up the decomposition process by cooking it, right? Because what happens if I leave the cow outside after I kill it and I chop it up and I just leave it outside? It will decompose. It will stink. It will rot. Will you eat it? Will you eat that rotten flesh? Not even a lion would eat rotten flesh. Because he know better. He know after he kill, they eat it right then, fresh. Okay? And they have guts and stomach with parasites and numerous worms and numerous villi and a whole different anatomy in order to break down this to get the most possible fuel out of it. We do not. Our anatomical system is not structured to break down meat. F the teeth. Okay? Our teeth are a biological, more of a genealogical kind of adaptation through time. All right? Our inner anatomy has been the same for ages. And our inner anatomy and the biochemistry of our inner anatomy says we cannot break down meat to the fullest extent in order to extract the amount of nutrients we need out of it. The protein propaganda is the protein propaganda. It is propaganda. It is based off of money. Know your history. I'm telling you, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Look, protein is in everything. The breakdown of protein is amino acids. There's 20 amino acids to make protein, right? The DNA sends out messages, all right? I'm just going to, I'm a biologist, so, I understand this to the T, but for means of the video, I'm going to break it down so you can relate to it. And this is what we do at the Holistic Academy, LLC. We break things down. Biochemistry, biology, holistic nutrition, everything from a holistic mindset so that you can gather this information and know that it's important. You know that it's important. And then you can strive to change things in yourself and in your household to make you and your household better people, which in turn will affect your family, and in turn will affect the community, and in turn will affect the world. I'm telling you, man. So, amino acids provide the structure and the folding and the capabilities for proteins. Proteins are in abundance. There's many different types. The one you've been hearing about right now for the most in nutrition are enzymes. That's a type of protein. They help to break down, or not just break down, they can help build up too. But to catalyze, they catalyze biochemical reactions, meaning they bring something together and have them work faster than those two things coming together by themselves and working. They take a large thing and break it apart faster than that one thing would actually break apart by itself. So they help to make the body more efficient. We also we have our own enzymes throughout our body to help to catalyze various reactions, but we also get loads of enzymes from natural foods, foods closer to its natural state, fresh fruits and vegetables closer to their natural state. Okay, we get those enzymes from the plants that help in turn to catalyze reactions going on in the body. They come with the specific plants, so those plants can be broken down in certain pH levels and certain acid levels and certain different levels of temperature and stuff like that. They come with the plant. So when you go to shelf foods and you consume most of that fast food, it will be the death of you. It's fast food because it's convenient, all right? But that convenience comes at a price. That convenience comes at a price. It does not have those enzymes in it to help break down the food. So your body has to work extra hard. If your body's working extra hard in a certain state, that means it's pulling from somewhere else. It causes a deficiency. Back to malnutrition. If you provide the body the most best fuel known to man, okay, then you can and you will heal yourself of any ill health imbalance that is going on in your system. Okay. Fibroids, ovarian cysts, in and out for kidney issues. Within a year and a half, gone. And this is from my own experience. I studied this. I was in school getting my bachelor's degree in forensics, right? So forensic sciences, I ended up minoring in, I had my bachelor's was in criminal justice with forensic concentration. And I minored in biology because I just love the science aspect so much. And, you know, I always pictured myself working in medical examiner's lab. And when I got out, I ended up working for United Network of Organ Sharing. And it was all a bunch of death. A bunch of death. That I came to understand the human anatomy from the death perspective, you know, like how the body deteriorates because we refuse to educate ourselves on how this thing works. It's not hard. Now, mind you, you know, when you can't relate to something, it's more of a challenge for you to actually understand how it works. And the systems, our political systems, our educational systems, our medical systems are so broken down into different segments, you know, and it's taught so segmented that you never bring it back to the whole, and you can never embrace on how this actually works. You know, in essence, in the real life, unless you really, really, really want to know this, unless it runs in your family, unless it's a passion, you know, then you can get by it. But for the majority of us, it's hard. It is a challenge. Doesn't mean it can't happen. So the Holistic Academy is here because I want it to be the change I wish to see. So after healing myself, using nature's plant remedials, I learned the herbs necessary to bring each cell, each tissue, each organ system back into the balance it should be. I learned the foods necessary to have in abundance to provide the key vitamins and minerals in order to rebuild my body in those certain places. I completely what is it? I'm saying 360, but it's not 360 because that's full circle. All right. But I completely changed my diet, like overnight. Within a year and a half, I was full-fledged, you know, vegetarian, and the changes were phenomenal. Not only did I lose weight, not necessarily to detox and to cleanse your system and to reboot your system, because there's certain aspects, like I said, that you cannot control. So you always want to keep your system, your immune system especially, because that's what's going to ward off, you know, anything trying to come in and attack you and bring you down. Detoxing and cleansing can help to do that. You want to be able to pick the proper detox cleanse because, you know, like I said, holistic health now is the people are starting to notice, it's becoming trendy and the thing to do, and people are starting to become more health conscious. And so there's companies out there, of course, that want to capitalize on this, and they don't do the research, and they just, sell certain things without giving the proper education on how to use them, or they're just as separatist as the medical industry is. Okay, so doesn't necessarily mean, my point was, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to lose weight when you detox. Right now, my usual weight is around about 150. I'm about 5'8", and so that average weight, is pretty slim and healthy and full of energy. And when I just had a baby, so I'm a little more chunky. I just had a baby 2 months ago, and so my body's going to naturally reset itself because of my diet. I'll be back in the flash. But my point is, you can be malnourished and overweight. You can be malnourished and underweight. Malnourishment is more of a form of how your body is reacting, or how your body is acting at that phase in time versus how it should be acting optimally. If you were never at an optimal state, and we all were at some point, some of us are born in an unoptimal state because of the health of our mothers, but that does not mean we can't get to that optimal state. That just means that we have to put up a little more effort, okay? Because our genes are phenomenally only 2% different, if that, within our species. So that means the healthiest potentials lie within all of us at any point in time. How do you unlock that? You provide the body the necessary biochemicals in order to work at optimal efficiency. For more information, www.theholisticacademy.org. That's theholisticacademy.org. Any questions? You can email me through there as well.